Field service category has come a long way. It has become as big as your CRM category. So, which are the top 10 field service systems in 2024? That's what we are going to discuss in this video. So, let's dive in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. We help companies with their digital transformation journey, strategy, change management, selection, as well as implementation. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be your top 10 field service systems in 2024. Before we look at the list, let's define what is a field service category. In general, this is going to be a best of breed system. It is going to be a siloed system. In general, you require this siloed system. The reason for that is because sometimes those field service processes need to be disconnected from your core processes because field service need to move fast. They are going to be on devices that might not be able to move the whole data model as part of one transaction. The reason for that is because your transactions are going to be slower. And if you're going to be in the field and your Wi-Fi connectivity is not going to be as high, you require the process to be truncated. And then whatever backend processes that you need to have, you can do that later on. And that's why you have so many different field service systems in the market. Field service systems now also sort of correlate with your CRM category. So you are going to have businesses that are primarily field service in nature. The only thing that they do is field service. For those businesses, the field service systems are going to act as more of the CRM, where they would require integration with a lot of different systems. So this is going to be integration. For example, let's say if you are a field service contractor for Home Depot, then Home Depot is going to supply you leads, and those leads are going to come to your field service system. And the reason for that is because you are doing your quoting, estimating, etc. as part of that. You might also have payment processes that you need to have as part of your field system. So, for example, let's say if you are in very residential centric spaces, whether you are in the insurance verticals where you are doing your forms, approval, etc., and then you are trying to get them to pay on the field itself, in those cases, you are probably going to require payment capabilities. So now your field service system is going to act more as your point of sale system. And then finally, you are also going to have correlation with your CAD system because in general, let's say if you are in oil and gas and if you are going to be in those industries that are going to be very deep into your industry 4.0, sometimes that overlap is going to be with your CAD system, engineering system, because you need to be able to serve these devices. You need to be able to collect the data. You need to monitor. So again, field service category cover a lot of different grounds and it has a lot of different layers. And in 2024, if you look at field service suite, that has become as big as your CRM suite or your ERP suite. To compile this list, we consider several different variables, and that is going to be your product share, the acquisition strategy focused on that field service business model, the product roadmap, community ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as investors. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Jobber. And Jobber is a very small system. This is going to be a system primarily on QuickBooks, and they are looking for their field service management solution where they can have these jobs. They should be able to serve these jobs. So for the most part, the approach that these smaller systems take is their data model is going to be very prescriptive. It's not going to be as connected with the other layers that you have. You are going to get good scheduling, but their inventory might not be as coded in general. So that's probably the challenge that you are going to have with your Jobber. So the challenge that you are going to run into with systems such as this is your costing is probably going to be a challenge from the operational perspective, from the job management project management perspective, you will be able to schedule your resources, you will be able to manage your calendar. But if you are looking at the profitability of these jobs, that might be a challenge in general, just because your inventory is not going to be coded. But at the same time, because of this, the implementation is going to be far easier, because if you are switching from your QuickBooks, in general, your data sets are not going to be coded, your customers are not going to be coded, your vendors are not going to be coded, and your inventory is not going to be coded either in general. And this is the same experience that you are going to get here. So again, you don't have to hire executives who are going to be experienced in standardizing your SKUs, the product model, the customer model, the vendor model. All of those is going to be a very heavy lift for companies that have not been on a formalized data model. So the other strength that you're looking at from the Java perspective is it's great for scheduling and great for timesheets, but the other operational processes, it might not be as great fit. The limitations that you're going to run into with Java is you are most likely going to have a lot of data integrity issues. And the reason for that is because your data is very fluid. It's not coded. So because of that, you will have data integrity issues. But again, this is more of the design choice. You are choosing the system because you don't want your implementation to be as expensive. And that's why they are not coding that. So again, these are very design focused constraints. You get one benefit or a couple of benefits. So in this particular case, you are going to get data integrity issues, but for the most part, you will be able to fix those. The reason for that is because, again, your data model is not tied. It does not have as many business rules. So you can do pretty much whatever you want. But again, you are going to have those issues. So you need to control these things more from the process governance perspective. It is not going to be scalable for your cross-functional financial-centric use cases. That's where you are going to run into challenges, and billing and invoicing is probably going to be a challenging as well, just because your inventory and financial data sets, they are not going to be as connected. If you are doing a lot of edits on your invoicing billing, then you will have to take a lot more shortcuts in general. So those are some of the challenges. That's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Oracle Field Service. And Oracle Field Service is enterprise grade solution compared to your Jobber, which is a very introductory solution. So in general, Oracle Field Service is going to be a great fit for companies that are going to be on Oracle Cloud ERP, and the companies that are on Oracle Cloud ERP are going to be in very enterprise, very large category. So Oracle Field Service, first of all, Oracle has a lot of market share among those media companies in oil and gas, service-centric companies. And in those, you are going to have a lot of flavored capabilities. Oracle Field Service also is going to be extremely robust in public sector verticals, especially if you're looking at scenarios such as your emergency communication, and that requires integration with your devices on the field. You need to be able to communicate with all of those. So you are going to have a lot of those capabilities pre-baked as part of the solution. You are going to have a lot more add-ons that are going to be present in their ecosystem. So this is going to be a great fit, especially when you are looking at enterprises that are going to have very large call centers and the dispatch process. And when you're looking at very complex GPS routing, including when you are including weather patterns, etc., for all of those scenarios, Oracle Field Service is going to be a great fit. The other advantages that you're looking at from the Oracle Field Service perspective is the global cloud footprint. And some companies might care for that as well. For example, let's say if you're going to be in the not-for-profit or public sector space, sometimes they have constraints put by any of the companies that might be funding them, and they need to keep their data inside a country. For that, Oracle Field Service is probably going to be a better solution. The limitations that you are looking at from the Oracle Field Service perspective is the number of layers that you are going to have inside the product, the kind of data modeling and the process modeling that you are going to require from the Oracle Field Service perspective. It's probably going to be bloated for SMBs. They might not enjoy it. In general, the implementation is going to be far more expensive, just because this is designed for slightly more enterprise-centric use cases. And because of these layers, you are also going to have a steep learning curve, and most likely it's not going to be as mobile friendly as some of the other solutions that we have on this list. For example, Jobber, the newer technologies, they are going to be slightly more mobile friendly. So that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is ServiceNow Field Service Management. ServiceNow Field Service Management has a lot of different templates that they have created for your field service companies, but ServiceNow was always far more present in slightly more IT-centric, data center-centric companies where they require IT-centric planning compliance that is going to have much heavier lift as well. When you are going to require integration with these data center-centric devices, when you have to do your billing, invoicing-centric scenarios, and sometimes you are looking at consumption-based billing from the hardware perspective, those are the scenarios where ServiceNow is going to be a great fit. The strengths that you're looking at from the ServiceNow perspective is fluid architecture for very ad hoc business processes. When your business processes are going to be not as rigid, that can be hosted inside your ERP, when you cannot do that, when you are dealing with many different devices, channels, and you require that GRC security control across your processes, collaboration, that's when your ServiceNow is going to be a great fit. The data model as well as the processes pre-populated for IT-centric businesses, they are going to enjoy a lot more just because, some of these compliance processes, they are going to be relevant in those industries. And it's going to be very mobile friendly just because the way the technology is built, it is very scalable. It is very scalable for mobile centric interfaces. It is going to be friendly for many different devices, whether you are integrating with your industry 4.0 devices or edge devices. For those technical scenarios, ServiceNow is going to be great. The limitations that you're looking for with ServiceNow is overly bloated IT data model for SMBs. They might not appreciate the overly complicated data model, the layers that you have to jump through to be able to navigate the ServiceNow field service business model. So it is great for enterprises, but it might not be as great for SMBs who are looking for slightly more simpler prescriptive processes, prescriptive interfaces. But again, those prescriptive interfaces are not going to be as scalable. So if you're looking for a scalable data model, the process model, ServiceNow is probably a better fit. But then because of those reasons, your consulting is going to be far more expensive as well. The licensing is very expensive just because it's very customizable, configurable for very enterprise grade scenarios. So that's number 8. Now, number 7 on our list is Service Fusion. And Service Fusion is ideal for home services, SMBs, seeking suite capabilities with commerce and field service. So again, this is going to be a very similar product as your, this is going to be slightly bigger than your Jobber, but again, it's a very small product compared to some of the other solutions that we have reviewed so far. So the strength that you're looking at from the Service Fusion perspective is that it's a pre-integrated suite. It's going to be SMB friendly, but it might not be as customizable. It's going to be easy to set up and use just because it's a very prescriptive workflows, but your data sets might not be as integrated. You are going to have probably data integrity issues just because those data models may not be as coded as you are going to find with some of the other products. The limitations that you're looking at is that it's probably going to be glitchy. The users have reported that on many different review forums that the product is slightly glitchy and the support is not as great, especially after the acquisition. So this has been acquired by a commerce company. And when you are looking at those scenarios where you need to combine your commerce and field service, in those cases, you might get the commerce capabilities plus your field service capabilities from the same vendor that is going to be pre-integrated. In those cases, it could be a great fit. But then generally, we see these issues that whenever any company gets acquired by a private equity, they are not going to have as great support in general. So you might experience that as well. And seems like the approach that this private equity has taken, they are not willing to make updates to the product itself, or their goal is going to be to cash out everything from this product within next 4 to 5 years. And typically that is the time horizon that the majority of the smaller private equity companies have. They take that 4-year time horizon, and that is much shorter in general to be able to make any sort of updates to the technology. They are simply going to fix some of the defects and they are going to improve the marketing. So that's the approach that they have taken. And you might run into all of these issues with Service Fusion. The other issue that you need to keep in mind with Service Fusion is that anytime any company is going to be private equity owned, let's say after 4 years, if they are going to change hands, And then in those cases, what is going to happen is your support might change completely. They might kill some of the product offerings. So those are some of the considerations that you need to keep in mind. So that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is service power. And service power, one of the biggest strength that service power has is its scheduling component, which is enterprise grade. In fact, some of the other solutions on this list use enterprise grade scheduling. They have a patent for this particular technology. And the other unique layer that you're going to have with service power is that they have the managed service offering as well as part of their solution, meaning if you need to outsource your field service function completely, meaning the hiring, recruiting, retaining, communicating with your third-party vendors, and the talent is a huge problem in general in the field service spaces, so service power will be able to cover all of that along with providing technology to be able to support your field service processes. Number 6, other strengths that you're looking at from the service power perspective is the industries that it targets is very insurance centric. They are not as penetrated present in the home services spaces. The other solutions are going to be better fit there. But if you are going to be in the insurance market, this could be one of the few solutions that are really present there. And the final strength that we have is that they can manage both employed as well as third-party service providers as part of the same solution. The limitation that you're looking at from the service power perspective is that it might not, the ecosystem might not be as big as your service titan. They might be integrated far more with a lot more solutions in the market. And it's probably not going to be as complete suite as your service fusion. So that could be a limitation as well. And it's not necessarily for enterprises, even though the scheduling component is going to be great. But the overarching solution, the data layers, the process layers that you have with service power are not as detailed for enterprises. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is Service Max. And Service Max is ideal for enterprises seeking native Salesforce platform with Industry 4.0 use cases. And Service Max, as of today, is owned by PTC. So if you are going to be in those Industry 4.0 scenarios where your field service component need to collaborate tighter with your CAT product or the PLM product, that's when your Service Max is going to be a great fit. When you have those Industry 4.0 scenarios to be able to talk to your edge devices, and you need to collect your data, and that you need to combine with your field service monitoring, etc. That's when your Service Max is going to be a great fit. Service Max is built on top of your Salesforce platform, but it does not have the same tightness that you are going to find with the Salesforce field service solution. And Salesforce has 2 different solutions that they like to present. So Service Max is not their go-to solution. Their go-to solution is going to be their own solution. But then in certain industries, Service Max is probably going to be a better fit just because of that alignment, the integration with those PTC offerings. So depending upon the industry, each of those could be a great fit. But if you're looking for slightly more Industry 4.0 capabilities as part of your solution, then Service Max may be a better fit. But con of that is going to be that the communication with the core Salesforce processes are not going to be as seamless you would find with your Salesforce native solution, or the one that they are selling right now as part of the Salesforce Field Service Cloud. The limitations that you have with Service Max is the communication challenges with your core Salesforce objects. So the process is not going to be as seamless as you would want, and it's probably not going to be SMB friendly, and the mobile capabilities are going to be limited as well. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 field service. And it is going to be ideal for companies that are going to be on Microsoft Dynamics products, whether you talk about the CE products or any of the ERP products from Microsoft. The strengths that you have from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 field service perspective, the ecosystem itself, you're going to find a lot more options in general in Microsoft ecosystem. And for field service solution, just like your CRM category, you will require a lot more add-ons, whether you are looking at the field service payments, etc., or you are looking to integrate with many different channels from which you might be acquiring these leads. So for that, your Dynamics 365 field service could be a great fit. You are also going to have Power Platform, and in general, the processes are very ad hoc in the field service component. Whether you are looking at those insurance companies, they are going to have a lot of different forms, and those forms are generally not as rigid. So if you are going to have very prescriptive model from your object perspective, it might not work in those spaces. So the Power Platform is going to be a great fit that goes along with your field service solution. The other strength that you're looking at from the 365 field service solution perspective is its cloud native and extensibility for very custom workflows. If you want to customize it for your workflows, then that will be a huge plus. The limitations that you're looking at from this solution perspective is that it relies on a lot of different third-party add-ons. So your implementation risk is going to be there. Your vendor risk is going to be there. The implementation might be far more expensive. You probably would require a lot more IT expertise to be able to design the architecture. Even if these are going to be add-ons, you still have to figure out, okay, what is going to be the boundary of each of those add-ons, where each of the processes are going to be hosted, and how they are going to communicate with each other. And you need to vet all of these add-ons, whether they are going to work for your data, for your processes, or what changes do you need to make to be able to support your processes as well as data. So that is going to be a change management problem that you need to take care of with this solution. So that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Salesforce Field Service. And this is another solution that we have in the Salesforce ecosystem. And this is your part of your field service cloud that they are selling. So this particular solution is going to have far superior communication with your Salesforce objects, with the CRM platform, with the marketing automation platform. So when you are looking at all of that consolidated view in one solution, that's when your Salesforce field service is going to be a great fit. Salesforce ecosystem is also a great fit for your call center-centric scenarios. You are going to find a lot more apps in general in improving that customer experience. If these processes are going to correlate with your field service processes, that's when your Salesforce field service is going to be a great fit. And the final strength that we have with Salesforce field service is you're looking at very enterprise-grade service management capabilities, whether you are looking it more from the dispatch perspective, whether you are looking at this more from the scheduling perspective, all of those capabilities are going to be there. The limitations that you have in that Salesforce field service solution is it's not very SMB friendly and only designed for best of breed service-centric workflows. You might run into challenges where your operational processes need to be connected with your field service processes. If you require that, for example, let's say if you are in very regulated industries where you need to have these processes to be connected, maybe they are driven by serial numbers. If you have that, then you need to bring a lot more data overall to your field service component. And sometimes that could be very expensive in general to manage. And then you are going to increase a lot more work for your backend processes because you are intentionally disconnecting these processes. So depending upon the choice of the architecture, what do you care for? Do you care for transactional efficiency, or do you care for that financial control, financial traceability across the processes? Either approach could be fine, but again, you are always going to have pros and cons of each of the approaches. In this particular case, you are looking at very disconnected experience and you are purposely choosing that, and you are going to have some cons because of that. And it will require a lot of consulting and enterprise architecture expertise to be able to design around this particular solution. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is IFS Field Service Management solution. So now this is where you are going to get the best of both worlds, where you are going to have the field service capabilities that are going to be slightly more disconnected, but at the same time, you are also going to have this model tightly integrated with your ERP layers that is going to be pre-baked, provided by the same vendor. The challenge that you are going to run into with your Salesforce field service, that your customer-centric processes you can manage very well, but when you look at your backend operational processes, that's when you are going to have a lot of challenges with your Salesforce field service. With IFS, your operational processes might be great, but when you are looking at those CX-centric processes, when you have to integrate this with your call center, integrate with your CRM processes, that's when you are going to run into challenges with your IFS, and that might be slightly more expensive just because you need to create or build these capabilities as part of the solution. You are going to get probably all of those flavors that you are going to get with your service max offering, where you are correlating these processes with your industry 4.0 scenarios. But again, IFS covers a lot of ground, but it is not going to provide all of those from the customer experience perspective. So depending upon what you care for in your architecture, where your critical success factors are, you need to choose one of the architecture. But if you care for that operational integration, at the same time having the flexibility of that field service layer, that's when your IFS is going to be a great fit. IFS is also a great fit for asset-centric companies, where you are going to have very different operational model as part of your EAM solution. And generally, these things, for example, let's say if you are in very facility management-centric space, where you need to keep your tight correlation of the location with your inventory because you are doing maintenance there, that correlation generally does not reside inside your ERP. It is probably going to reside inside your EAM offering. For those scenarios, IFS could be a great fit, where you are looking at very tight alignment of field service, industry 4.0, EAM plus ERP. The other strength that you have with IFS is the technology is very cloud native, and this is going to be a must-have for the field service companies. And the scheduling component that they have, it has been proven for very large workloads, for Fortune 500 workloads. Sometimes IFS field service component is used with SAP and Oracle. So that's how proven it is for those enterprise grade scenarios when you are going to be scheduling the workload of 50,000 field service crews, internal, external, all of those complicated scenarios. IFS is going to be a great fit. The limitations that you're looking at from the IFS perspective is it might be overwhelming for SMBs. The amount of codings, the process codings, data codings that you're going to require, that might be very expensive for SMBs, and they might not appreciate the kind of layers that you are going to get with the solution. And they still have very limited North American presence. They are doing very well in North America in general, but they don't have as many logos, at least as of today. So that's number 2. Now, the limit number 1 on our list is Service Titan. And Service Titan is ideal for SMBs, especially if they are going to be in residential services sector and they are looking for a solution that is going to be extremely friendly, does not require as expensive implementation, and it is going to have all of those connection points, especially from the CRM perspective, lead management perspective, and in general, in those field services businesses, this is probably going to be used as a CRM, and they have a lot of capabilities to be able to support that. Most companies in this sector are probably not going to use another CRM to be able to manage their CRM workflows. So the strengths that you're looking at from the Service Titan perspective is you're going to have a lot more pre-baked integration. Again, the perspective, the design that Service Titan takes is they are very workflow centric, meaning you are going to improve the customer experience, the employee experience from the field service perspective, but that comes at the expense of your operational correlation. When you are going to get into these operational financial scenarios, those are not going to be there with Service Titan, just because it's trying to simplify the data model. It's trying to flatten the data model to make it easy for those smaller companies. So the other strengths that you're looking at from the Service Titan perspective is the marketplace and the ecosystem is one of the biggest. It is one of the most comprehensive suite for SMBs, especially in the residential services sector. The limitations that you have with Service Titan is not meant for enterprises. For the most part, let's say, if you care for that operational correlation, and sometimes, the Service Titan is a very expensive product. It gets very expensive. And if you're using it with some of the other products, for example, they are very well known in Sage Intacct ecosystem, just because Sage Intacct is a very strong financial system. And then on top of that, you are probably going to use Service Titan. So both of these solutions could be very expensive in general. So the licensing is going to be expensive, even though you are saving a little bit on the implementation, connectivity, integration. So again, you are always going to have pros and cons with these solutions. And the other limitation is it is limited to those best of breed scenarios where your field service need to be completely disconnected. If you care for that operational correlation with your ERP processes, that is probably going to be a challenge in general with Service Titan, and only fit for residential services. It might not be as best fit or as well adopted in other industries. For example, let's say if you look at insurance or utility, energy, in those industries, it might not be as well adopted. So that's number 1. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to publish a detailed article that is going to have much deeper intel. So you might want to check that. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. So like and subscribe on YouTube. This podcast is also available on Spotify as well as Apple. So check there as well as subscribe if you like. Also, if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2024, we encourage you to check that. And we are going to include the link of that as well. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.